Welcome to the Clock End Talk, an Arsenal podcast. Thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. You can follow us at clockend_talk on Twitter. We're also on Facebook and YouTube. Each and every week, I'm joined by Tony. How are you, mate?
I've been better. Obviously, I travelled up to Wolverhampton on Wednesday and saw the most abject performance I've seen in a long time. But let's not let football get in the way of life.
Fair enough. And we haven't got Schwinn with us this week. He's obviously busy doing his other stuff. So we got in a very special guest, Monty Panesar. How are you, mate?
Oh, very well, thank you. Very good. I was happy at Watford, and then I saw the result 2 days ago against Wolves, and it's like, are we going to make the top four now? And this is a real concern for me.
It is. And just on that, just with the top four, you're banking on our chances still? You think we can still make it?
I want to, because my brother supports Man City, and then when it comes to the Champions League, I'm always then just following Man City, because at home it's like Champions League is on and it's Man City takes precedent. And I'm like thinking next year at home I want it to be like, no, actually I want to watch Arsenal. You can't watch the Man City game.
Yeah, no, exactly. You've started a cricket academy? You want to tell us?
Yeah, I've just started a cricket academy, something that I want to, keep connected, to the game, keeps me involved, and also something, I want to give back, hopefully, bring the next generation of cricketers coming through, and, with my experience, in cricket and the games that I've, served my country. Hopefully I can produce the next, Jimmy Anderson, Stuart Broad, or even Graham Swan. I'm a spin bowler, so hopefully, I can produce the next spinner,
nice.
For England.
What
hopefully, the next Graham Swan.
Going to be, doing one-on-one?
Yeah, it'll be one-on-one group sessions. Working with clubs. So I'm this week at Fulham Cricket. Going to be there from 10 till 4. So. Arsenal fans, if you have a good weekend, then please come and join me at Fulham. We can talk about the great things about Arsenal and talk a bit about my academy at Fulham Cricket from 10 till 4 on a Sunday. I'm looking forward to that. And it's just I think it's something, cricket's given me so much. Without cricket, I don't think no one would have known who I am, and cricket's just given me so much, and I just want to give something back to the game, and also it's a platform. I always speak to a lot of people, different clubs, different age groups, and they always encourage me to open up academy, and they wanted some sort of platform where they can come to the academy, get some specialist coaching, go back to their schools or go back to their clubs, improve their game, and that sort of bit of one-to-one sort of training, as well as doing a bit of like maybe group work for all ages, girls and boys, and try and maybe give some specialist service to clubs as well. So it's more there to give back to the game and also produce. Ideally, what I would love is it could be like produce some cricketers where age group county teams, or even up to professional level, it can be that kind of a feeding system for them, where I can give them players, and instead of sort of scouting, this sort of academy can provide that platform.
Mm-hmm. Are we going to see you featuring anytime soon, Monty? Again, playing?
Yeah. I think one of my goals is I want to make a comeback in the professional game. I was training. With some of the first-class teams, and my bowling felt really good. Did a bit of training with Pakistan over the last 3 days, and I'm just itching to get back playing professionally. Hopefully, get some second-team games or get some training with some of these professional teams, the first-class teams, and with a real dry weather, and hopefully we've got a great heat wave coming this summer. Hopefully there's a team out there that really needs a spinner of my experience, and I'll be itching to go. So just hoping that someone can take that punt on me and say, yeah, come on then, Monty, have a game. Let's see what your bowling's like.
As you were growing up, who was your cricket idol? Who was that guy that you looked up to?
I always looked up to, the likes of Derek Underwood, Phil Edmonds, in my younger days, like Bisham Beatty from the MCC Masterclass book, that Tony Lewis, forward. And I used to just look through that. David Gower used to be in there, his elegant play. And then Ian Botham, in there as his all-rounding ability. And then I just flicked through that book when I was a young 9, 10-year-old, and I looked at Bisham Beatty's action. And I started to just copy. There's like 60 images of his action, and I just copied his action, looking in the mirror how he does everything. And then from there, I developed my action. And so I like to thank MCC for producing that book. If they didn't, I don't think I would have known how to go left arm spin.
Nice. So you're an Arsenal fan. Tell listeners, how did you become an Arsenal fan?
Well, see, we as football fans have irrational behaviours. We have a local team that we support, and we have a Premiership team. So Premiership team was closest Premiership club to me, was Arsenal when I was growing up. And obviously I always supported Luton, being my local team. But give it a couple of years, Luton could be in the Premiership team, and it could be like, who do I support, Luton or Arsenal?
Is that likely to happen anytime soon, Tony?
Well, Luton
are playing at the moment. Sorry?
I said Luton are a win away from being promoted to the Championship, and then it's getting a bit close.
Exactly. Well, yeah, there we go. And if they're in the Premiership team, I don't know. I would love that scenario, going to the Emirates, and I'm thinking, who does support, Luton or Arsenal tonight?
That's I suppose a good thing to have, isn't it? Two teams in the.
Well, that's a dream come true for all the Hatters fans.
Yeah. Tony, got any questions?
Yeah, just I don't know how often you get to games, but do you have a first memory of Arsenal, or your first time you went to Arsenal that you remember?
I think first time I went was actually, my first memories was of George Graham. George Graham, Ian Wright, David Seaman, Steve Bold, Nigel Winterburn, Lee Dixon. And then I used to collect the stickers. Then we had the next generation coming through, was Mark Overmars, Dennis Bergkamp, Thierry Henry. So these were my memories. And then there was George Graham. And then after that, obviously, Arsene Wenger took over. And then I think literally like over the last 20 years, it's been Arsene Wenger. And I'm thinking to myself, am I supporting Arsenal or am I supporting Arsene Wenger? Who I've been supporting for the last 10, 15 years.
So was you a huge Wenger fan then, or was you one that was calling for his head towards the end?
I think I always found that he was strategically very smart from all the other Premiership managers, where he would buy players like below value and make them amazing and then sell them on. So, he really kind of, made Arsenal a very profitable company. And even now, season tickets is the most expensive, I think, in the country with Arsenal. The tickets are really expensive. And how they maintain that is remarkable. But it goes down to Arsene Wenger. He's a very strategic manager in terms of being, how to make a football club successful. And he didn't go out and splashing, big players, through most of his time at Arsenal. Maybe at the back end, so he spent quite a bit on players. But generally, he had a good scouting feeding system from France. He encouraged, liked his French players, and he worked out a really good method in how to make Arsenal profitable. And just be in the Champions Trophy each year, you can just see how hard that is as a feat. And for him to do that, for such a long time, is I think is what kept him at the job, with Arsenal for that long period of time. So, and you can see managers now, the likes of Arsene Wenger gone, so Alex Ferguson gone. These new managers are coming in, and you can see how hard it is to maintain their level of performance. These were like once in a generation managers, and now it's it's a tough job. It's tough if you don't spend big. It's tough to maintain and stay with the other teams.
I agree. I don't know a huge amount about a cricket dressing room, but I know a lot of the time they use football to warm up. Is there a lot of like football banter in the cricket dressing room, or when you was say away with England, obviously, because I know it's the people, a lot of Northerners and people from different countries or different backgrounds. So is there a lot of football sort of banter in a cricket dressing room, or is it all strictly professional?
Oh, everyone loves their football. Everyone just asks each other, who do you support? Especially like if there's if we're back in the hotel and there's a game going on and it's at the right time, everyone's glued to their TV just watching football. Football's like it's like a religion in this country, isn't it? For like every person who's British, who's born in this country, we sort of we just anywhere, any part of the world we'll go, football is the one thing we start missing after a week or so. We're like, well, what are the footy scores? Who's top of the table? What's going on? Next year, I'm definitely going to look to join the Fantasy Football League. Because that's a big talking point, fantasy football league. Oh, I want to sell my player. What's going on here? Everyone has huge issues about it. So that was massive, amongst the England dressing room, talking about fantasy football league.
Have Arsenal ever invited you as like a guest of the club to games and stuff? Because I know we see people who have achieved sporting feats in other sports. You see them presented on the pitch and stuff from time to time. Have you ever had any contact with Arsenal about things like that?
Yeah, I had a couple of times I went there when there was Man City against Arsenal. Obviously, my brother's a Man City supporter, and I remember Yaya Toure just walking past Giroud, and it was like, this is like, it was a bit. I think footballers are probably, it's just amazing, seeing them, and you do get a little bit starstruck by them. Obviously, I've got my book coming out, the full Monty. So I'm going to be promoting that when the Cricket World Cup is on, and but I would love to, maybe at the start of the season, go back to Arsenal, with the full Monty book, and try and share my memories of younger days when I was at Arsenal, what I thought about Arsenal, and I remember meeting Ian Wright during the ITV function where we were at, and it was like, because I'm wanting the idea, mate, you're right. And I was just like, oh my God, this guy even knows my name. I used to follow him as a 10-year-old, you know what I mean? And with his JVC Arsenal top and his scoring goals all the time, and at the back end of his England career where he used to just score like goals for England, and it was just amazing, and his passion. And in a way, when you follow someone so passionately in your younger days and then they know you, you're kind of like, for me, that's my little starstruck moment. So like I had a bit of a starstruck moment with Ian Wright, and I had to like calm down and think, actually, we're both like sports people. Let's just be normal about it.
So we need to get onto Arsenal to get them down. Get you a little interview on the pitch and plug your book. So if anyone at Arsenal's listening,
my book's coming out on the 30th of May, and the World Cricket World Cup will be on. So yeah, I would absolutely love that. Maybe I'll get. Do you reckon I can get one of the Arsenal players to wear the Monty Panesar Academy T-shirt as well, and while they're warming up?
I mean, while they're warming up might be difficult, but there's got to be someone that can pull some strings.
Yeah, that'd be brilliant. We
can only put it out there, can't we?
Well, maybe we can combine other sports. Maybe we can get some footballers. Like there's always. I always find that when I speak to British Asians, they always think, oh yeah, I'm doing well at football, but I don't really know how to get in there, don't really know the roots. And I think there was a survey done that they said that there's not a lot of professional sort of Asian cricketers coming through, but 30%, 40% of club cricket is dominated by Asian cricketers, but only 3-4% come through cricket. I think it's even smaller for football. So maybe there's room for the next Monty Panesar to be a footballer from the academy.
Did you see the video a few years ago of the first team players trying to bowl, and they were terrible as expected? So I remember David Ospina being very bad. I think Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain was okay. Obviously not by your standards, but to someone just looking on. I don't know if did you see that video?
Yeah, I did see that video. That was hilarious. I was actually laughing, and I thought, footballers are just. I think they're just good at one thing: is sprinting and going after that ball and scoring goals.
It'd be good to try and get them to do something like that again with your tuition, and then I said it'd be a good little plug for the academy.
I would love to bowl on, let's say, at the Emirates, and we have a plastic pitch there, and they go and hit a few sixes, and let's see if they can clear the stands.
I wouldn't be putting any money on it, to be honest.
Yeah, why don't we get a plastic 22-yard pitch out on the middle of the square, on the middle of the football pitch where the touchline is, where they start, and get. Hello?
Yeah, you got your back now, mate. Sorry, I just cut you out.
Yeah, do you reckon we can get a 22-yard plastic pitch in the middle of Emirates Stadium?
So I'm sure there's someone that can pull them strings. So if we contact the right people and hopefully something can be made to happen.
Yeah, that'd be brilliant. Yeah, let's get that happening.
Well, two things.
Huh?
Two things that I've learnt from this conversation, and listeners are probably thinking the same, Monty, is next year I'll have to share you with our fantasy competition that we have. So I'll send you some links for that next year, and also I'm sure you'll have to donate a book to the Clock End Talk for one of our listeners, a signed copy of the Monty Panesar book.
Absolutely. We have to. We'll set up something fun, something interactive. And let's do that. I think we'll have a lot of fun with that.
We'll get that sorted. Okay, let's talk about some football. Now, you're a big Wenger fan, Monty. What's your take on Emery's first season?
I think he's done really well. I think he surprised quite a few people. He's kind of like helping the pack in football. And I think he's still, probably a little bit behind against the other teams. But, I didn't think they will be competing for a Champions League spot. So for him to get Arsenal to that level, I think he's done brilliantly well. And I think he's playing. I think he has an attacking style to Arsene Wenger. I think he does bring. I think Arsenal's football has become a little bit more attractive, and they're always attractive to watch. They've always been very attractive to watch, the style that Arsenal play. But I think he's maintained that and he's taken it just a little bit further. So yeah, he's. I think he's the right man for the job at Arsenal.
I did get a couple of questions come through from our listeners, and I haven't got it up in front of me at the moment. But somebody asked, you've been around star or professional sports cricket players and whatnot. The question was aimed at what stars do you see at Arsenal at the moment?
I think this is quite obviously, like a young, they're a young team, but I think Arsenal are like. I think as long as the fans are not expecting like miracles, let's be honest. Like they got to be honest. The fans got to be honest with themselves and think that we've had a really good season. I think we've had a really good season this year compared to how the other squads are. And we probably, if we want to compete with them, we've got to like spend a bit more, or strategically and tactically play slightly more different. But then that's where the Arsenal manager he has to actually develop Arsenal. Next year he's under pressure. If he can get a Champions League spot, I think that's brilliant. And then he needs to definitely maintain what Arsene Wenger did. If he's able to do that each year, just give us a Champions League spot, stay in the top four. I think that'll be good. And then hopefully we'll have that season where we can, talk about Arsenal winning the Premiership, and then we'll be like happy days.
How long do you think that'll be away? How many years?
I reckon that's another 4 or 5 year project, at least.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's another 4 or 5 years, for sure.
I just got that question up. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang Golden Boot. He said, so Monty, you knew world-class players in your England side, Alistair, Freddie, Peterson and yourself, of course. Do you agree with the notion that we have no world-class players at Arsenal?
I think we have I would say if you look at the other squads, we have a developing squad. So this is really encouraging. It's more of a developing squad that I thought probably would have finished 6th in the league, but they're actually competing for a Champions League spot. It's like it reminds me of when the England under-19s, won the World Cup, and some of the youngsters then went on, who were part of like Tottenham, Man United. It's like that kind of young group of players at Arsenal again, where give it a couple of years, these guys will mature, and suddenly then we could be like competing like the Liverpool, and become like the next Liverpool, and then hopefully we can compete with the likes of Man City. Man United obviously are slightly, they're obviously, they're still a threat to us. And Tottenham, I'll probably say Tottenham are still a little bit better than us as well. Chelsea, and then probably we come after that. But if we get a top 4 spot this year, and this squad if you can maintain this squad, now give it a couple of years, we can overtake all of them, and suddenly, we one day I want it to be like a race with just top two or top 3 teams or top 2 teams like Liverpool are doing with Man City, and then Arsenal win that league. We need them Thierry Henry years back at Arsenal so we can win the league.
Yeah, absolutely. Who was your favourite past player and who's your favourite present player?
Okay, my favourite past player was... See, I've got a couple. I used to like Mark Overmars, at the wing. Dennis Bergkamp was always good. Thierry Henry, Ian Wright, again, another my favourite. I used to like David Seaman, really good goalkeeper, awesome goalkeeper. These are my memories of good. And I think currently this is very difficult to say who's my favourite because I think they're all on the same kind of level. But I think at the moment for me, Ozil, I think Ozil is the one which I like. And I just like his sprint, the way he reads the game. Like I was watching, Watford Arsenal, and I watched him play, and you can tell when he comes on the pitch. I think he reads. He is slightly more experienced than the other players, and he just reads it, sprints, he gets into position, creating it, making it easier for the other players to pass the ball. And Ozil is probably my favourite player at the moment.
Ozil, there you go, Tony. Schwinn will be happy.
The man has sense.
There was a question, and you might be able to elaborate a little bit on this. Shri, he says he still hasn't forgotten you for the 2012 series versus India.
Forgiven you.
Oh, forgiven you, sorry.
I hope so, because since then... I can't even get any job in the IPL or any coaching gigs in India, and I think that the Indians hate you this much. That's 20% of the world's population, 1.6 billion people. I mean, hate me.
That was a good series for you, wasn't it?
It was a good series, but now looking back, I wish I probably just bowled rubbish.
You might have had a job then.
In the IPL, would have got some more work. So I'm thinking, maybe I should have just not bowled that well.
When that question came in, we looked at how you done, to refresh our memories, and I was listing off the names of who you bowled last night, and it was like the who's who of Indian cricket. If anyone half famous from India, it seems like you bowled them in that series. Yeah,
they were a formidable team, and it's interesting. That Mumbai pitch, if they never played a first class wicket, so that wicket basically when I was bowling on was day 4 on the first day pitch, and by the end of the Test match it was day 8, and it's turning and doing everything. And if that wasn't the case, I think India would have won anyway. So I guess yes.
So Brad, he asks Monty. He's saying yes, he's sure we can make top 4. Chelsea play United, left games top 4. It's not really questions. Sorry about that. It's a bit of a statement he's talking about. There's a few upset fans about the Wolves game. Did you catch the Wolves game?
Yeah, I saw the result. I was obviously watching Man City Liverpool, but I don't know. Sometimes I think, Arsenal doing really well. So I kind of switch off and don't maybe I follow maybe maybe sort of who's going to win the Premiership, and then you kind of think why Arsenal lost that game. What happened? Maybe I should be following them more closely, and then they'll start winning.
It was always going to be a tough game, wasn't it, Tony? We ruled that down as going to be a tough game for us. So.
Yeah, I just think, and I don't want, obviously Monty's a professional sportsman, but sitting there in the crowd, it sort of seemed like they're not giving their all. And I know that's the worst thing a professional would have said to them is you to question their commitment. But sometimes you've got to call it how you see it. And for me, it looked like they wasn't giving 100%. I don't know if Monty got that impression as someone who's been in the heat of action on the sports field.
No, I think this is where the Arsenal manager is going to be. He needs to. This is where he probably has to be tactically quite shrewd, and he needs to know what's going on. We played brilliantly, and then suddenly we lose against Wolves. I know it's going to be a tough game, but if you want to get a top 4 spot, we're going to beat Wolves. So we're going to get a top. If we're not beating teams like Wolves, we're not going to get a top 4 spot, are we?
Mm-hmm. Just one last quick one for you, Monty. So obviously everyone's talking about the summer transfer window coming up. People are talking about we need a winger, we need a centre back, we need this and that, and some people are even saying 11 odd players might get sold, and this is the budget and stuff. What's your thoughts moving into the summer? Where do we need to strengthen and to move forward at least for next season?
Well, I think we need to strengthen, our defence. It needs to be a bit more stronger. I think that's the place where I think where I feel that we need to get stronger. I don't think we need to go heavy in splashing money. If you as a manager go heavy, then he's going to put himself under pressure. Then he has to perform. Like, you look at Everton. Look what Everton did. They went heavy and didn't work out for him. And if I was sitting down with the Arsenal manager, I was like, if he's asking my opinion, what do you think we should do? I said, I would say invest in these players, strengthen the defence a bit more. But we play attacking football, keep that attackingness, but with just a slightly stronger defence, and don't go too heavy, because then I think you're going to put pressure on yourself, and the expectations are going to go higher, and then the fans will go crazy even more. It's like, we spent all this money and we're still not winning the league, Yeah. And I would rather him think of a 3-4 year plan where I'm going to stay in this job for next 2 or 3 4 years, and gradually, at least another 2 years, give myself another season, hopefully one more after that, because you know what it's like in football. They get rid of you very quickly if you're not doing well. And I don't see Arsenal doing that. I think Arsenal, I'll be surprised if, next year, if they get, rid of the manager, unless there's a shocker. But, if he puts in good strategic plans in place, then, I think, the Arsenal sort of, top end sort of people board, you get the impression that they as long as Arsenal's making a lot of money and are profitable, which I'm sure there will be, they don't have to go heavy. Once you go heavy in spending, then you're putting the pressure on yourself. So defence, and I think everything else is good.
You Stan Kroenke in or out?
Sorry?
Stan Kroenke in or out?
Oh, he has to stay. He's got to stay.
Yeah. Okay, Monty, it's been a pleasure to have you on the Clock End Talk podcast, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for having me, and I'd love to get to the Emirates just before the season finishes from one of the games, and I'd love to show my support for Arsenal.
Excellent.
and Arsenal, finish the sort of last few games on a high, and hopefully they'll get into that top 4.
Thank you for joining us at the Clock End Talk, Monty. We'll definitely get you back again next season.
Okay, thank you, mate.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Monty Panesar, for coming to the Clock End Talk. That was great, Tony.
Really good. Good to have insight of a real top-class international sportsman. I mean, we've never had... I'm not sure, I might be offending Kevin Campbell here, but I don't think we've ever had an international sportsman on before. I'm not sure if Kevin Campbell ever got international caps, so sorry if he did. But again, from a different sport as well, so they look at things slightly differently. And I found it really interesting that he was starstruck when he met Ian Wright. And I'm like, well, recently, Monty Panesar has been more relevant. He's done things like he's won Ashes series much more recently than Ian Wright been playing, but still it shows that just because you're famous or well known or good at your sport yourself, doesn't mean you can't idolise other people in different industries and different sports.
Yeah, no, it was good. I don't think he likes Shane Warne, just quietly.
No one likes Shane Warne.
Or you fellas over there just don't like him, do you?
Yeah, look, I thought Warren was a brilliant bowler, the best I've ever seen. I always say Murali is better just to piss you off, but in general, yeah, I mean, he was a genius with a cricket ball. I'm not the biggest cricket fan, as you may have been able to tell by that conversation, but I know enough about cricket, and Warren was something else. He was, even the years when Australia were really strong, when the Ashes came round, it was only really Warren I was worried about. I never really cared about McGrath, Lee. Even on the batting side of things, Gilchrist was never really bothered me, but you always thought if Warne has a strong session with the ball, the test match is finished. He has one good session, one good spell, 13 good overs in a row, and the test match is finished. He can bowl a team out for 50.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And he can change the game. And Monty's like that, actually, too. Like, I think because he cleaned that Indian side up in 2012, so, as he was saying, but... yeah, anyway. Let's get on to this football game. Wolves, Arsenal, 3-1. Lineups came out. What was your thoughts?
Wrong.
Really?
You know, with Wolves, you have to play a back five against Wolves. There is no other way to play against Wolves, especially as a big side, because you know how they're going to play. You have to match them up. We got caught with the exact same thing at the Emirates. They play their wing backs really high. So then, if you've got a back four, which we did, Monreal pushed out onto Doherty, who was their right wing back. Maitland-Niles had to pull out onto, was it Johnny Otto that played left wing back? So then you either leave 2 and 2 with your centre backs against Jimenez and Jota, and then there's loads of spaces in between, or one of your fullbacks has to tuck in, and then they're free down the sides. And with the pace of someone like Jota, it was just, there was so much space for him to work in. I mean, you wouldn't set up a team to go 2 on 2 at the back on purpose, but that's what we done by not playing free at the back.
So it was only the back. You were happy with the mids, or you'd rather the three?
Well, no, but everything changes then, because if you go, obviously you have to take a body out of somewhere to get an extra centre back in. So everything changes. For me, I think the team, he made the change in about the 65th minute, which was weird. I don't know why he waited. I think he probably just thought the game's gone, so there's no point. But, I mean, it showed. I know Wolves had stopped, but we were a lot more of an attacking threat after we went to a back five. And people think, back five is a defensive formation, but depending on who you're playing against and the way you play it, it doesn't have to be. Also, my other big issue, and again, everyone knows I've had this issue since the day we signed him, is Lacazette cannot play up front on his own. He was so isolated in the first half, and then he starts dropping short and no one runs beyond him. So we were never, ever going to score from open play in that game. I think Lacazette had one chance in the first half where he done all the hard work himself and then blazed it over. But that's what you need a bit. The only way when he's up front that you can score is if he produces a bit of magic or from a set piece. I said to my friend I was with after half hour, because obviously when Aubameyang was announced that it wasn't in the team, they said, he's ill or injured and he will have a fitness test before the Leicester game on Sunday. And after half hour of that game, I said to my friend that I don't think it matters if Aubameyang's on crutches. He's going to have to play on Leicester because we cannot win in front of his own.
Yeah, I was shocked that Aubameyang wasn't even on the bench, to be honest. But then again, I thought, well, he's played like 4 in a row, hadn't he, prior to that?
I think they said he had a sinus procedure. Okay. So I don't know if that's an operation or whatever. And then they said there'd be a fitness test before Sunday. But as I said, there's no way that we can afford to be without him. Even we looked much better when Eddie came on, because it's just someone that's in and around Lacazette to play near to him, to stretch the defence and run in behind. And to be honest, and I'm not one for just chucking youth players in for the sake of it, but if Aubameyang isn't fit, I would start Lacazette against Leicester. I would start Lacazette and Eddie against Leicester.
I thought Eddie was good when he came on. I thought he was, yeah. Okay, let's go through. Just on the lineup. So Mustafi obviously got dropped. You agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, look, the only difference I would have made, I would have kept the two centre-backs. I would have tucked Nacho in one and played Kolasinac, and then you lose either Mickey or Iwobi. It's not ideal because, again, you still leave Lacazette up front on his own, but let's be honest, I wouldn't have been calling to start Eddie before the game, so I'm not going to sit here now and say I did.
Yeah.
But it means that you're more likely to get him round behind wide with Kolasinac and Maitland-Niles as wing-backs, which then means Lacazette doesn't have to come wide and come short as much. And it gives someone like Ozil or Mickey more, because Mickey wouldn't have been playing wide or Iwobi wouldn't have been playing wide, they'd have been playing slightly narrower. It gives you that extra body in the box. So the only change I would have made would have been Kolasinac for either Mickey or Iwobi. Probably Iwobi. Not based on the game, just based on if you're going to be tucked in, you would need someone who's better with the ball, and I think Mickey's better with the ball in general than Iwobi. So the only change I would have made is Kolasinac for Iwobi and change the shape.
The other one, and obviously when the lineup come out, Willock on the bench. I know he didn't come on at all, but when you see the bench, you think it's not, and I'm not, shitting all over Eddie here, but you see two youths on the bench. You see Mustafi, who we all know had an absolute shocker last week, and an El Nani, and you think, geez, it's not much of not much firepower there if things do go like, okay, it was 3-0 at half time, wasn't it? But there's not much left on the bench, is there? Like that. But then who do you put there? Who's there?
Well, that was it. To be fair, when the team news came out, I was in a pub and we got it came through on Twitter or whatever. And I said to my friend, the only way we can win this game is with that 11, really. Again, you could bring Kolasinac on and change to what I just said, how I would have started. But you're looking at who on that pitch. I mean, I would love to know how many Premier League goals were on that bench. It would be however many Mustafi scored. I mean, look, trying to think who's on the bench. Kolasinac probably has 3 Premier League goals. Mustafi might have 8, maybe, if I'm being generous. I don't know. But then Guendouzi's not got one. El Neni doesn't have one, I don't think. Willock's not got any. Eddie's not got any. So you're looking at... Yeah, so you're looking, if you need to change a game with a goal scorer, your centre-back is the top goal scorer on the bench.
No, that was what I noticed. I thought on the bench, wow, that's... If this guy's the shit, what's going to happen? How's he going to change things? And, yeah. Okay, on the game, so... you want to touch on a couple of the yellows? I don't really remember Monreal's yellow.
Well, it's for the goal. This is another game.
That was leading to the goal, wasn't it? That's right.
Yeah, this is another game I've refused to watch back. So the more intricate moments where you need to see a close-up to see if it was a foul or if it should have been a booking, I've not seen. Live, he stopped the promise in a counter-attack. I've not heard anyone complain about it. I thought it was a booking at the time. Interestingly, I thought, and again, I've not seen this back, so I could be talking absolute nonsense, but I thought Neves moved the ball about 5 yards backwards for that free kick. And that makes it a hell of a lot easier, because to get the ball up and down from 20 yards is a lot harder than it is from 25 yards, just by the nature of physics. As I said, I could be completely wrong, but straight away the first thing I said was he's stolen yards, and that's not done us any favours.
The okay, with the Ruben Neves goal, are we blind? Look, is it Leno or is it the way our wall's set up, or is it just a great kick?
Yeah, I don't think it's either, to be honest. I think from there, as I said, I think he's moved it back enough, if I am right, or whether it was just that's where it's meant to be. It was the perfect distance that it's close enough that if it goes over the wall, it's got time to get down, but it'd be very, very difficult for a keeper to save. I think it's just a very good free kick, to be honest. And the thing is, Leno can't make that step early, because then if he does and Neves goes the other side, there's no way he can get back because of how close the free kick is. So I think that's just one of them you've got to say, it's a good strike. But leading up to it, before the foul, I'm pretty sure it was Jota just ran through 3 or 4 Arsenal players in the midfield, and he walked past them like they weren't there. And then it left them 2-on-2 with our centre backs, and obviously Monreal's committed the foul. It's probably a good foul in some sense, but then obviously they've scored from it. but someone's got to make that foul on the halfway line. If he's running through a gap and you see that we're going to be 2-on-2 at the back, fucking foul him in the centre circle, take the booking. I think at that time no one had been booked, so it's not like anyone was walking a tightrope. Just the game management of Arsenal sometimes, and we've been saying it as fans for years. So it's not a specific player thing. It's not a manager. It's not a Wenger thing. It's not an Emery thing. But the game management is just horrendous. I don't know if they have someone there that teaches them the dark arts of football. I mean, they should all know it. They're all professional players, but we are so bad at it. And it's not something that just comes with attacking football, because you look at Guardiola's teams have always probably been the best teams at the dark arts. They foul you as soon as you get the ball, and then they get the chance to get all their men behind the ball. But we've always been bad at it. And I think the first goal and the third goal were both shocking examples of that.
Okay. Granted, I thought, look, and I might be a little bit biased here, but I thought he was pretty good. But the yellow card, it's just Granite. That's just what he does, isn't it? He plays, when you think he's having a pretty good game. At this stage, we're only 1-0 up, and down. Down. 1-0 down. Fuck, I wish we were up. 1-0 down, and I'm looking at our mids, and I'm looking at Granite, and he's putting the ball through. He's trying to get something happening. But then I noticed he copped a little bit of slack over that yellow card.
I can't remember it, to be honest. I didn't think he played well. I completely disagree with you. I thought he had a really poor game. But I don't remember his booking, so I can't really comment on it.
No, okay. Matt Doherty, he scored 2-0, assist by Johnny.
Again, first of all, Leno had a horrendous game. It's probably his worst game in an Arsenal shirt. First of all, they break down they play a switch from the right to the left, and they're left 2-on-1 because we're playing a back four against a back five. So again, it's the mistake I highlighted earlier. Then Leno's handling is horrendous. He should catch it. He parries it backwards somehow, hits the post luckily, and goes out for a corner. So you think, we've got away with that one. Then they go short. They go for a short corner. They leave two people there. We only send one out. It should always be 2v2 at an absolute minimum from a defensive side. You can't leave 2v1 because it leaves them with every option. And even then, they played a couple of passes between themselves, so there was time for someone else to get out, and no one bothered. The line from the defence was a joke. Leno, I don't think he needed to come, and I've seen a lot label criticism at him for coming for that ball. And I would agree that he shouldn't have come, but I think he was kind of in a shit or bust situation because the defence have clearly let themselves down. Doherty was clearly going to get there, and he's probably thought, well, he's going to score anyway, so I should just try and get to the ball before him, because that's the only way they're not going to score from this situation. I think he's misjudged it, and he was never going to get there first. But while it is a mistake, I can kind of half understand why he's came.
Torreira half time just gets a yellow there too. I don't know if you remember that one or not.
Yeah, I do. He jumped into the tackle.
And then obviously they get their third goal just on half time.
Again, this is another occasion of just horrendous game management. Look, 2-0 is not the best scoreline, obviously, but it's a hell of a lot better than 3-0. The ball went up for stoppage time. Just keep the ball, nothing smart. Play it into their corner if you have to. Get in at 2-0, regroup. We get caught trying to play the ball backwards, and I'm pretty sure it was Granit just played a pass into the no man's land that they've intercepted, and he's done it a few times this season. I remember early on in the season against Cardiff, he done it, and we conceded right on half time again. And it's strange because he's one of the ones that I would say his game management is usually better. I remember just before half time against Tottenham, a ball fell to him and he smashed it about 80 yards just to be like, get in at half time 1-0 up. And you'd go, oh yeah, well done. Like, you don't need to find the pass all the time. I have no idea what he's trying to do. Then Jota's beat Socrates probably too easy, but you shouldn't be letting someone like Jota have a one-on-one run at any centre back. And then Socrates has done as much as he can. He's shown him wide. You'd say 9 times out of 10 he doesn't score from there. He's on his weaker foot and wide. And Leno just makes a massive fuck up. I can't really make excuses for it. He has to save that.
So putting that down to Leno. Oh, well, obviously started with a few. Yeah. with the granite pass to our defence down to Leno at the end.
Well, that's even why was Granite playing it backwards in the first place. As I said, there's 30 seconds to go till half time. There's no positive. You're not going to go backwards and then build forward and score a goal with 30 seconds left. So pull it into the corner, let Iwobi chase it, or let Mickey chase it, or let Lacazette chase it, or just get the ball as far away from your goal as possible. You're 2-0 down. Okay, you've got a chance. You get the next goal just after half time, and they start to get nervous, and it's a completely different game. The way it ended up is we've given them a goal, and at 3-0 it's done.
Going into half time, I would imagine the boys are fuck. Emery is known to make adjustments at half time, but it took him to the 58th minute to make adjustments.
Yeah, I mean, look, no one came out to warm up at half time. So, first of all, we knew that there was no subs because if someone's coming on, they usually come out straight away. So I can only assume that Emery was bollocking them and made sure that everyone heard it rather than just a select few. So we knew there was going to be no changes. I can't remember the last time I saw when no one has come out to warm up. Well, they did with about 3 or 4 minutes to go. But usually the subs warm up for pretty much all of half time. So I think he must have stuck a rod up their arse, so to speak, at half time. But again, it's weird. The only thing I can assume is he thought the game's done. There's no point chasing it at this point. But it is unusual because he usually changes things whether he needs to or not. And this was a game where it really needed change and he didn't bother.
Yeah, no, it was an odd one. And then 58th minute, Mkhitaryan went off, Kolasinac come on. 59th minute, Guendouzi came on and Torreira went off. Obviously, you're thinking, look, and just on both of them subs, look, and at 3-0, I don't know really what the plan is. I suppose Guendouzi offers more attack. Kolasinac offers more attack as well.
Well, we went to the back five, which, as I said, we should have done from minute one for me.
Yeah, but I wonder what the thought process was of the 58th minute. We need to do that.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. I don't know I don't know what he was doing. I was surprised he didn't do it at half time. As I said, I don't know if he thought the game's done, so we don't want to overplay the players too much. Someone like Kolasinac, who's not got the best fitness levels anyway. I think Torreira's been struggling with a little bit of injury. Obviously, he didn't start against Palace. He came off at Napoli, I think. So I don't know if that was just more about Torreira than trying to change it tactically. And to be fair, I know we hammered Guendouzi the other day, and I have for a lot of the season, but I thought he actually played quite well when he came on. Again, you don't know how motivated Wolves were being 3-0 up. They might have just been happy to sit on the lead, but Guendouzi was one of our better players in the time he was on the pitch, and even if Wolves aren't overly trying, you can only be better than your teammates, and he was.
Yeah, I got no qualms with Guendouzi this week. Look, Eddie came on. Iwobi went off once again by the 71st minute. I'm thinking, maybe as you say, down fitness, we'll save Iwobi for later.
For me, what I said to my friend straight away is because we have seen Eddie play wide this season, and as we saw Eddie sort of getting stripped off to come on, I said he has to go through the middle with Lacazette because we've seen Lacazette can't do it on his own, and if Aubameyang is to be out on Sunday, we need someone to play alongside Lacazette. So for me, I think that was more Emery just testing it out to see that if we do have to do this at any point, will it work? And for me, the answer was yes. So Eddie was our best player, and he played 20 minutes. He was literally our best player by miles.
Yeah. No, I have to agree. Then we get a goal. I'm usually a bit more excited when we get a goal. Look, they say it was an assist by Granite.
Yeah, obviously from a corner, good ball. Again, all game we've been pissing about with short corners, and you get a lot of, I'd say mainly old school fans that really hate short corners and they just get it in the fucking box. And I'm not like that. I don't mind a well-worked short corner. But we seem to be doing this short corner recently with no aim. Like we pass it short and then it goes out to someone on the edge of the box and they pass it back. And it doesn't seem like they're trying to work anything. It seems like they're just passing it for passing's sake. And I think that the first ball we actually crossed from a corner was the goal. And then we had one not long after that was dangerous as well. it was weird that it took that long for them to think. As I said, I wouldn't mind if we were taking it short and working better angles and end up getting a good cross in from a different angle or a better angle. But we ended up just not really doing anything. And then, as I said, the first one we did cross ended up in the back of the net.
Yeah, I'm one of them old blokes that like it straight in the box. Get it in there, see what happens. I hate these short corners. I don't like them. Look, it's not really much more to talk about on the game. Look, we got fucking smashed. So, who was? I don't even know if you asked for a man of the match. Who was your best? Who was your best and worst for Arsenal?
The best player is the same as the best player every other week, just because he wears an Arsenal shirt, Lacazette. He turned up, so that was nice. So let's give him man of the match. Worst? I don't know. Look, to be honest, I don't think there was a performance probably above a 5 out of 10. To be honest, I know. Look, people are gonna say Ozil just because he's on the most money. He was nowhere near our worst player. I am not saying he was anywhere near good, so this is not me defending him, but yeah. I'm also not going to go down the route of going, oh, he was Ozil just because he earned the most money. I'm judging it on what I saw on the football pitch.
Well, you don't, look, I'm leaning towards Leno because, and as we both said, he missed probably the two that he should have saved. Are we saying two?
Yeah, I put the blame at the second episode goal down to him. I would have to go with Leno for worst, and fuck knows, only Eddie was our best player, but you're not allowed, if Lacazette's on the pitch, he has to be the best player. So
Okay, let's get into some questions because this will probably answer a few anyway. Steve Day says, laugh, make top 4 hilarious. You still confident?
No.
You're not?
Well, look, what did I say, 12 points before?
We both said 12, didn't we?
Yeah, and then since then we've lost to Everton, beat Wolves, lost to Palace, beat Watford, sorry, not Wolves, lost to Palace, lost to Wolves. So now, by that ranking, we have to win all 3 of our games, and I can't see it. I actually don't think it would need 12 points, to be honest. I think if we get 7, maybe even 6, I think we could still get there, depending on what Man United do against Chelsea. But I don't think we'll get there.
Yeah, so just looking at the ladder, Chelsea's 67, but they play Man United, don't they? So
yeah, the issue is if we don't win on Sunday away at Leicester, then all of their results are bad for us if we don't win. Because if United win, they'll go above us if we don't win. If it's a draw, then Chelsea will stay above us if we don't win. So our only option really is a win on Sunday.
Yeah, so we've basically got to win every game. Okay, that RC fella, guys, I think the massive schedule of games is a major contributor to our poor run of form in the last 2 Premier Leagues. Our squad depth has been very much exposed. Do you agree? And do you think this will rectify in the summer given our financial might?
I don't think our squad depth's horrendous. We've got 3 long-term injuries, which hasn't helped. How much fresher does that side look if Hector, Holding and Welbeck were able to play? And Ramsey as well. For me, he's been our best player for the last 5 months or 4 months, whatever it is. And he's not available. So you add them 4 in and you go, 4 of the starters move to the bench and you go, actually, yeah, it's not too bad. But look, if we're going to come down to we've played too many fixtures and the players are tired, then you've got to look at playing strong teams in Europa League group stage, which we didn't need to do and we did. And then losing away to Barté, which means you have to play a full strength team in the second leg, or losing away heavily to Rennes, which means you then have to play a full strong team in the second leg. All of these things happened. So if fatigue is the case, we only have ourselves to blame.
Okay, that RC fella, what was the difference between the challenge on Lacazette for his penalty claim and the collision involving Monreal that led to the Wolves' first game? I'm struggling to see much difference.
Again, I've only seen it live. I did think it was a penalty live, but it was the other side of the pitch to me, so I'm not 100%. Monreal dangled a leg out, again, from what I saw. Could be wrong. Whereas their guy looked like it was just hands, and if there was a leg out, it wasn't stretched, so it never looks as bad. But having said that, I did think it was a penalty.
Okay. Gator Gooner, I can't even ask a question. I'm so pissed. Thanks for your work. Then I see fella. Game of Thrones. Fucking hell. No idea. Brad's, yes, we can make top 4. So, yeah, I read this out earlier. Chelsea play United left. That's our get out. We win our 3 games. We get top 4. For that game, we have to be United fans and hope they turn up. Yes. For the first time, are we actually going to all be going for United? Oh, how ironic. Okay, so we've got from Shree, he's asked for he's got a bit of a thread going on here. So it's Arsenal's record in the away league table. Starting at 10-11 first, 11-12 third, 12-13 second, 13-14 second, 14-15 third, 15-16 third, 16-17 sixth, 17-18 10th, 18-19 10th with 2 games to play. This isn't typical weak-minded Arsenal. This is a new problem.
Yeah, strange, isn't it? Because you think that our home record has massively improved in that time, because when we were finishing first in the away table, we obviously wasn't finishing first in the home table, otherwise we'd have won the league. So it's strange. I don't know what the problem is. We spoke about this a couple of weeks ago. We're not producing enough chances for our strikers, and they're not converting enough chances away. Is that the only problem that's making us come 10th, 11th, 8th in the away table? No, it's not. But I read a stat today, and I don't know if it's correct, that in Lacazette's time at Arsenal, he's only scored 6 away goals in the league. Again, I'm not blaming him, but there's something has to be looked at there, whether we're not getting the service or... Look, Lacazette is pretty clinical, so you've got to say that you can't put it down to him missing constantly. But if that is true, that he's only got 6 away goals, then something needs to be looked at.
Something's going on for sure. I don't know. People will say it's...
and if that's true, he got two at Fulham this year and 1 at Huddersfield. So that's 3, and their teams are going down. And he got 1 at Cardiff. It can't be right just thinking on it, because he got 1 at Cardiff. And again, they're probably going to go down. So that's 4 against the relegated teams. I mean, that's a problem in itself if he's only scoring against the relegated teams. But 6 can't be right. Even if it's 6 this season, it can't be right because... Well, actually, I can't think of any others. Maybe it's 6 this season, which still isn't enough.
No. Vish says, I have inflicted self-induced... Oh, he's not happy. Realistically speaking, we are not top 4 material. I promised myself I won't get my hopes up when it comes to Arsenal, and thank goodness I didn't. Which players deserve to remain at the club next season? I was actually, funny enough, I think I shared a link, was it with you boys or the other lads in the chat, and there was a bloke who basically, he had, obviously, Ramsey's going, he said, Welbeck's going, there was 11 players, and I'm like, there is no way in the world Arsenal are going to replace 11 players. He was selling Ozil, selling Granit, Cech was going, selling El Neni, selling Mustafi, and then just the ones.
I'm not sure. I saw something similar. I saw it on Twitter, and someone replied, "But you're leaving us with a 13-man squad."
Ridiculous.
That's the thing. I think too many people just go, "Oh, he's not good enough." Out. But that's okay if they're not good enough, and yeah, it's a shame. But you can't just bin it all in one window and go, "Oh, here's 13 players that aren't good enough in this window. Get rid of them all and bring 13 new players in." Even I know, like, you get a lot of replies to these, "Oh, it's not FIFA," or "This isn't Football Manager, calm down." But I don't think you could do that on FIFA. Like,
yeah, no, I don't know. But realistically, next season, and I don't know if this is true or not, apparently we've got 45, 50 million. He can use... I know, it's just the media probably, storming a teacup thing, talking shit up. But he can use the money that he can raise from the sales of players. So let's say hypothetically, okay, he's got 50 million. Who do you sell? And what do you need? What do you need? Yeah, I know. We've done that. But just think of one or two players that you have to get rid of to make a spending summer.
Look, I mean, for me, I think we've got a hell of a lot more than 50. I think our total budget, including player sales, will be probably trebled at. I'm expecting around 150, 130, 150 probably. Look, the players that we need to sell, we ain't going to get any money for. Not anything serious. Unless Mustafi goes to China, we're not going to get a decent offer. He could probably command half decent money from China because he's a World Cup winner. And he's a bit of a personality, he's a bit quirky, and do you know what I mean? He's a bit of a celebrity. Yeah. But does he want to go to China? We obviously know about family issues, or not issues, sorry, but his family don't really want to move to certain places. So we're probably not going to get much for him. I think Mkhitaryan, it'd be good to get him off the wage bill, because despite him having a very good month last month, that's all we've really seen from him in an Arsenal shirt. But are you going to get a big fee for him? Probably not. Again, I doubt we'd get 20 million for him. And then who else? Look at all the people who are saying, El Neni. Okay, you're going to get, 7 million, maybe 10? And then it's a lot of people like that. I was talking to someone the other day, and I said I wouldn't be surprised if Chambers goes, because he's probably going to be third choice in 3 different positions. And you'd probably get 20 million for him, give or take. He's had a half decent season. So I would keep him just because of him being a utility man. But if you can get 20 million for someone that's not even second choice in any position, I think you probably take it.
You got to take that, yeah. Okay, Vish says, with the changes that have occurred, the club, do we perhaps need a psychologist coach to mentally prepare this team for the away games?
I'm not a big believer in psychologists anyway. So I don't know. Look, these players go away and play for their countries or whatever, and they have no issues. And obviously everything's away. Well, not everything, but most games are away then. Well, I think you've got to, if you can go into a lot of games, you can look at individual mistakes and we were set up wrong. That has got to take a precedent over getting some woman in that hypnotises the players into believing they're good. They should all know they're good players. They're all playing for a massive club on massive contracts. They should know they're good players. And for me, as I said, if we were set up tactically spot on every week, and there was no or very few mistakes, and we just kept losing for some unknown reason, then okay, I think you can maybe go down the psychologist route. But for me, we just set up wrong to start in a lot of the games, or we're making individual errors. And you, no matter how much someone comes in and tells them they're brilliant players, if you're set up wrong, you're basically playing with one leg.
So Emery, look, it could be Emery. You know, this is his first season though. Like, is he's still learning the Premier League? Can we say that excuse anymore?
Well, yes and no. Yes, he is, but that people seem to use that excuse as, oh, well, it doesn't matter if we lose because he's new. He's learning. That's not acceptable in any walk of life. You can't just go, oh, I'm not going to fucking bother doing my job today because I haven't been here a year yet, so it's all right. Like, do you know what I mean? He is like the Wolves. He's got it so wrong. And the Palace game, he got it so wrong that you can't just keep going, oh, well, he's only been here a year. Where does that stop? Do you imagine expect him after the summer to be like, well, I've been a year now, so I'm never going to get it wrong again? Because that ain't going to happen either.
Well, and they talk about he was big on video and stuff when he come in. That was the big thing. But I'll be honest, I wonder how much video he watched at Crystal Palace and Wolves, because I don't get any of them.
Well, and the thing is with them two teams, they both took points of us in the reverse fixtures. We drew with Palace away and drew with Wolves at home. So there's your warning.
Yeah, there's your warning right there. Why has Monreal and Kashani played 7 games in a row, have they?
Didn't know they had.
Never did I. MAA Gunner.
I mean, we've had obviously we've had injury suspension. Sorry, with Socrates, Holding's been out. Kolasinac isn't the fittest, and Mustafi's Mustafi. I don't feel that Emery's great at rotation. I think sometimes he does it for the sake of it and not for the right reasons. As I said earlier, we played very strong teams in Europa League group stage when we didn't need to. We played quite a strong team against Blackpool at home in the Carabao Cup. At Blackpool away in the FA Cup. We played a lot stronger teams than they need to, and I think maybe that is a learning curve that he needs to learn, that when you can get away with, dropping 5 or 6 names and rotating people. We've seen next to no rotation really, apart from if someone's injured, or not, as in to save them physically. It's all been just weird changes for no apparent reason.
Just odd. Are you surprised that El Neni didn't play up front since Aubameyang was out? MAA Gunner. MAA Gunner, Mustafi is on the bench, but somehow we've managed to get 4 Mustafis playing at once.
Up front to start with.
MAA Gunner, thoughts on Gabriel Martinelli?
I'm going to be about the only honest person I've seen on this topic and say I've seen absolutely fuck all with him, because he's a 17-year-old playing in about the 5th division in Brazil. But apparently everyone's experts on him and they watch him every week. So everyone tell me how brilliant he is, and now we've just signed the next Messi, even though you've definitely never seen him play.
You're honest. I wouldn't even know who the fucking bloke is. Who was he? 17.
He's playing in some local league in Brazil. He's not massive ref games because they don't have a ref.
Yeah.
But everyone has been after him, which is true, and I think we've paid between 5 and 8 million for him. He gets around the visa laws because his dad's Italian, got an Italian passport, so
he ticks all the boxes.
And it's been a quite a strong get. The club it's not been confirmed yet, it's all been confirmed, but by all accounts the club are really pleased to get him when there was a lot of teams after him. Mm-hmm. But I've seen people going, he's going to go straight into the first team. How the fuck do you know?
That's a big jump.
He's playing in the park. He's playing in the fucking favelas.
It's the fucking Premier League. That's a big jump. Sandeep is 1 loss away from saying Emery out. Big call.
Look, I'm not, but I can get the frustration. A lot of people haven't taken to Emery. I've got friends that I go with that they just, I don't know, they just don't like him. They don't feel a connect with him because it's he does, rightly or wrongly, he does things his own way. Probably rightly, because I think as a manager you've got to do what you believe. But when we've seen for years, we kind of know what works and what doesn't. And I think Emery comes across as very stubborn. And stubbornness can be a good thing. I'd argue Guardiola's very stubborn. But when it's not working, you're going to piss people off.
Mm-hmm. That is true. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang Golden Boot, despite us having many traits lingering from the later Wenger period. Are we the best placed of Chelsea, United and ourselves to progress in the near future? Unlike them, we have football people at the highest level.
I don't know. Look, Chelsea have got the transfer ban. If that
does, is that still on? Is that definitely on?
As of now, yes. I expect it to be suspended for a year or 6 months at least. But as of right now, it's still going ahead. That's going to cause them huge problems because Hazard's off. Mm-hmm. They wouldn't be able to sign Kovacic. They wouldn't be able to sign Higuain. And they've obviously signed Pulisic, but they're losing Hazard and replacing with Pulisic, losing Higuain and losing Kovacic and getting no one in. So I think they'd probably have some issues. United's a tough one because I think they're going to throw money at any problems, and money isn't always the answer, but it can be because it can buy you very good players who just happen to work. My thing with them is I don't think Solskjaer was a good appointment. So I don't know how. It's difficult to say with United. Really difficult to say. With us, I don't know, how much are we going to spend? If United go and spend 500 million and we only spend 60, then I've got to say United are in a better place. If Chelsea don't have that transfer ban, even if they lose Hazard, they're going to spend a shit ton because they know that the ban's coming up. So then again, I would say they're in a better place because they're going to have a chance to get everyone in place before that ban happens. As things stand at the moment, I think it all depends on our budget.
You think 150?
Yeah, give or take.
Hack on. What has more balls, Housewives of Beverly Hills or this Arsenal squad?
I mean, I think Hakon's showing what he does for nighttime entertainment there because I've literally never heard of the program.
I don't know what he's talking about.
That's what it's about, but I'd still probably say them.
Hakon, why does it sound like we play twice as many games as the other teams? We moan about the rest and tight for players all the time. City, Liverpool have players that plays a lot and they seem fine.
The huge problem with the Europa League is that you're 9 times out of 10 playing Thursday, Sunday, and people always go, "Oh, it's the same as playing Wednesday, Saturday when you're in the Champions League." But the Champions League, you play Tuesday one week, Wednesday the next, so that's at least one extra day on 3 of the games. And because you're a bigger team, you're you're United, Liverpool, Tottenham, City, you're probably going to be on Super Sunday. So then that's an extra day there. Whereas with the Europa League, you might have 1 or 2 Mondays a year, but in general, you're going to be playing Thursday, Sunday, so you never get that rest. I'm not using that as an excuse. For me, that's just the difference between why the Europa League teams always seem more tired than the Champions League teams.
Okay, what do you guys think we have to do to change our weight problem? It's a major concern. It is not. He's saying it is not a concern anymore. It's defining for us as a club and our future to compete.
Well, yeah. Look, we're never going to compete with anything with them with that kind of record. How many times have people asked us what it's down to, and look, Arsenal spend millions on performance review and statistics and analytics, and they obviously haven't come up with an answer. It kind of worries me that in the summer they probably just thought, "Oh, we'll change manager and that will all change." That obviously hasn't happened. But if Arsenal can't fix it with all their millions of budget into looking into these kind of things, a bloke sitting in his living room watching TV probably isn't going to be able to help you too much.
All good.
Yeah, okay. Hack on. Should we just try to raid more PL clubs in the summer? Get in some of those players who can also take a step up to the top 6. So he's saying, not Neves' example. I see what he's saying, yeah, because there is some good teams in them, good players in them, like Schwinn, he's a big fan of Brooks at Bournemouth, isn't he?
The problem with the Premier League now is everyone's rich. So these players cost you the same as a potential, and I say potential, superstar from abroad. And I think that's the thing with say, Ruben Neves. I mean, Ruben Neves is a very good player, but he is never going to be world class. Whereas you look at, say, a Lo Celso who's on loan from PSG at Betis, who at Betis have just signed permanently, or a Ndombele at Lyon.
Yep.
Them guys cost about the same amount of money, and they could be world class. I'm not saying they will be, but there's potential to be world class there. Whereas Neves is never going to be for the same kind of money. I think that's the issue with everyone being rich. It's become very difficult to buy off the smaller clubs. I mean, even looking around at, say, the summer window just gone. Okay, City signed Mahrez. They paid 70 million for him. Did anyone else sign anyone from a Premier League club? Like at the top 6. Obviously, Tottenham didn't sign anyone at all. Chelsea, I don't think they did. United, no. They signed Fred and Dalot. City obviously signed Mahrez. Liverpool, no. Keita. Fabinho, Shaqiri. But again, it was because his team had gone down. He was on a cheap.
Good buy. Good buy, though.
Yeah, he's played about 5 minutes this season. No, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. There's hardly
you sit here with these suggestions, but you look, no one's doing it just because of the prices that everyone in the Premier League being rich causes problems with buying Premier League players.
Mm-hmm. Since here's one for you, because you're right into this shit. Since when did people start to include wages and agent fees in the transfer budget when we talk about summer budget? Maybe you always did, Tony, and I did as well, but before most people just talked about the budget money and buying just the player.
To be honest, I never have done it. I have spoke about it, but as separate things. I agree. I kind of agree with the question. I don't know when it sort of came into it that it was all included. I think the press done it mainly for things when people get free transfers or swaps, like Alexis. They couldn't say, "Oh, United got Alexis for nothing." So then they added up all the wages over the 5 years, the agent fees, the signing on fees, and gone, "Alexis has cost 200 million." When in years, like no one, you're not the best person to ask this, but how much did Sol Campbell cost Arsenal?
I can't remember. Yeah, I'm not the best.
We got him on a free. But that's it.
Right. Yeah, he was free. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was reported as Arsenal got Sol Campbell for free, not as Arsenal will pay Sol Campbell 110 grand a week over 5 years, and his agent probably got 3 million out of it. I think it's the way of the press making everything seem more exciting, and then.
Well, it started with Pogba, didn't he? When he came to Man U.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'll get in trouble for this, and I remember my dad losing his shit at me once. I think people are very. I said stupid. The word is gullible. They read what they do in the press and copy it. It's where the saying "watch football with your eyes and don't listen" comes from. It's the same thing with the press. They read it and then they adopt that model. So they're copying what the press do, but the press are full of shit. And I think that's where the problem starts. So now everyone, because the Sun reported once that Alexis cost 200 million for these reasons X, Y, and Z, they've now started going, "Oh well, our budget's not 150 million because he's going to take 5 million a year in wages." So you take that out, but for me they're very separate budgets. So I do think about them when I'm talking transfers, but I talk about them as separate things. You have your budget for transfer, you have your wage structure, which are two things that exist but separately. I don't really ever talk about agents' fees because, I mean, it's like the Wild West, the world of agents, and no one ever really knows what they get paid. But I think all things have to be considered, but separately, not out of the same budget.
I don't know. I hear what you're saying, but I think I disagree with you because if I'm going to buy you as a player, okay, I've got to set aside that money and go, okay, well, he's going to cost me 10 mil, his agent's going to cost me this, and everything else is going to cost me this for that player.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. They're separate budgets. So you do factor in the wages, but you don't say I've got 150 million and that needs to be transfer wages, agents' fees, insurance, flights over here, putting him in a hotel for the first few weeks because he ain't brought a house yet, give him a car. We have 150 million for transfers. We have our wage bill can be no more than however much a year, and that includes all the players. Our miscellaneous for stuff like flight transfers, for putting them up in a hotel, for getting them a car potentially is this amount. They're all separate funds. It's like, look, you employ people at work, right?
Yep.
So when you're doing your budget, when you first employ someone, do you factor in what he's going to earn in 5 years?
No.
Exactly.
No.
Because you never know.
But I factor in every other bit of expense when I'm doing a quote as such.
Yeah, I'm saying they have to, but they're separate budgets.
They're separate
they don't
budgets,
announce we have 150 because you look, say Ozil, 350 grand a week. So you're saying that took 40 million out of the transfer budget? Did it fuck?
No. Yeah, no, I see where you're coming from now.
Or if it did, that means in that January transfer window we had 150 million budget because we signed Mkhitaryan on high wages and we signed Aubameyang for £58 million also on high wages. So if you want to go with that, we had £150 million to spend last January. Of course we didn't.
No, your budget. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Your budget is just for your player sales, and then obviously you take into account
there's a separate budget. Of course, it has to be budgeted. It's just not the same number.
Not the same number.
They will have a number. They will say our wages this season cannot exceed, just say 100 million. It's probably more than that, but just to put a number out there. And so when they're factoring all their deals, they'll go, we cannot go over this amount. And if we do, we have to let someone go to bring it under that 100 million. They won't go, but we can nick 2 million from the transfer key.
You talked about Sol Campbell, but do you think since them days to now has agent fees obviously become more a part of football than it was back in them days?
Oh, much more. Much more.
And that's
agents are fucking ludicrous.
Yeah. But is that why they're thinking, oh shit, this player's going to cost us this and this agent's going to want this?
So look, they've always had to think about it. It's just, as I said, it just doesn't come out of the transfer budget. These things aren't paid in cash up front either. You don't go, like say a standard agency is probably 15%. When we signed Lacazette for 50 million, they didn't go, here, Mr. Lacazette's agent, here's £7.5 million up front.
Yeah. It's in. No, fair enough.
Because as well, what happens if you sell Lacazette after a year? These things are all prorated as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's why clubs always start to look for agents start to look for new clubs for their players towards the end of their contract. Think if they're getting 15%, they would actually be more. It'd be better for them to sell while the players at his most expensive, not when his contract's low.
So,
because
Aubameyang and Lacazette, are they obviously they're not paying the 50 mil or whatever up front? So it's a payment process of we're going to give you this for so many years, 3 years or something, we'll pay it off or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the agent is exactly the same as well.
Yes, in general.
Yeah.
There will be cases where they've been, if like 5 teams are going for a player and you really want them and you have to do something above and beyond, you may have to, whether it's legally or not, they may have to find a bit of money in their glove box, or you may have to pay them up front, or you do stuff to sweeten the deal. But the vast majority of deals are spread over time.
So if you've got a budget of 100 mil for the year, you're not even coming near that, really.
I mean, it depends, because different transfers warrant different things. Like Torreira's release clause was so low because it was written in his contract at Sampdoria that his release clause was only active if you pay the money up front. So you had to pay. And Arsenal struggled with it because it is so unusual to pay a transfer up front. And I think Arsenal eventually paid more than the release clause, but they had an agreement to have it paid over 4 windows. So say he was meant to be £26 million release clause, give or take, it's 26 or 28.
Yep.
But Arsenal said, rather than give you 26 up front, we'll give you 10 or 8 for the next 4. So it ended up with 30. So ended up paying 4 million more, but they got to spread it out.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, so when they say, Arsenal spent 100 million or Manchester City spent 140 million this window, yes, they did, but technically over 5 years.
Well, no, they could have done. That's what I'm saying. Every deal is different. We could have gone and paid 28 million or 26 million for Torreira. Every deal is different, and every deal will have different percentages. I know when Tottenham signed Sissoko, everyone was laughing at them for spending 30 million, but they agreed 5 million a window. Yeah, so that in that case, they didn't spend 30 million up front. They spent 5 million a window.
5 million.
So that splits that deal in 6. Obviously 6 different portions. You may pay it in 2 portions. You may pay
whatever you negotiate.
Yeah, every transfer deal is different. There's no golden rule with these things.
No, but so like, even if things like, everyone's talking about, and we'll run with it because the media's talking about it, and everyone's talking about this $45 million budget for Arsenal, but that's not necessarily the case, because you could buy 10 players over a deal with, you can spread that over 5 windows. 5 million.
Yeah, I mean, look, you've got to factor in age and the selling club, because the selling club going to accept that. And also, then if you do that, it then reduces future budgets, because if you've got 45 million to spend this window and you get 9 players for 5 million each, as in like you're only paying 5 million this window, but then next window you've got to pay 5 million each for them players again. And if your budget's only 45 million again, that means you've got no further budget. Because you've already spent it in the previous window.
Spent it, yeah, okay. It's all interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, look, it would be so much easier if there was like one rule, like it was uniform. This is how transfers work, but it's not. It is. Look, it's whatever deal you can negotiate, and that's why these things take so long. Even once the players agreed, sometimes, or they've agreed a fee, a lot of times deals are held up through payment schedule. How are you going to pay it? How much this time? Is there going to be a bonus? Is there going to be a sell-on clause? Is there going to be a bonus if he plays a certain amount of games? Like Asano, whoever he's on loan at, Takuma Asano, he's got they have to buy him if he starts a certain amount of games, and he's got one left. If he plays that club have to buy him because he's only on loan. So they've basically told him to go home.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to buy him. There's a rumour, as far as I'm aware, I'm 99.9% certain it isn't true, but there's a rumour that Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain had a clause that they had to pay him more if he played over 70 minutes of a game, and he always used to get subbed off in like the 65th minute. As I said, as far as I'm concerned, and I'm 99.9% sure it's just a rumour. But again, that's another thing that takes longer to be negotiated. It's not. Again, there's another thing. When you read a player's on a...
What type of deal's that? Sub him off 69th minute.
You'd be surprised. Harry Kane's got an appearance fee. That's why he makes sure he comes on in every game.
Yeah, right. Just all different clauses.
Tottenham played someone, I think it was in the third round of the FA Cup this year. They were 7-0 up, and Harry Kane come on.
There you go. Crazy.
Like, these clauses, they're not...
Crazy.
People play computer games, and I know I'm saying this from a position of being involved a little bit more, but people play computer games and think you just go, oh, here you go, here's 50 grand a week and we'll give your club 20 million, come and sign, and that's it, it's done. These things are very complex.
Sounds like it. Hakon Larson, so he's a little game for you. I don't really want to kill anyone. So it's marry, fucking kill, or shoot, shag, and what is it? Shoot, shag, and bloody marry, isn't it?
Yeah.
Granite, Aubameyang, Torreira. So who are you going to marry?
I am a straight male, so none of them.
Who are you going to fuck?
I am a straight male, so none of them.
You dirty bastard. Who are you going to kill?
Well, it's better than your answer saying all of them.
Who are you going to kill?
I'm not a murderer, so none of them.
There you go, Hakon. Fucking fence sitter.
Go on then.
I thought Schwinn was back at them for a minute.
Go on then. Go on, Billy Big Balls. Go on then.
Yeah, I will marry Aubameyang. I will... I'm not fucking anyone. Fuck.
Oh, here we go. Look at him sitting on the fence.
I don't want to fuck anyone. But then if I marry him, I've got to fuck him, I suppose. So Aubameyang will get jealous over Granite. But then I don't want to kill Torreira. Yeah, what shit. No, I don't want to like that.
See? You sitting on the fence. Fucking Brucey Big Balls from Australia are here giving it.
Who would Schwinn say, you reckon?
Nice. He'd probably fuck them all.
He'd probably fuck them all, guarantee it.
Same time. Dirty bastards.
Dirty little fucking Indian. MAA Gunner. Go get yourself fucked. Hakon Larson. Wolves had the perfect away performance at home. We should have good, dangerous on the counter, full control at the back, and well organised.
That's what they do against the big teams, and their crowd are very good. Their fans are very loud. To be fair,
are they?
Helps. Yeah, very good. The away end is horrendous. You cannot make noise in that away end, but the home fans are very loud.
Scotty says, what happened to Suarez? Yeah, good question.
I mean, he's injured is the actual answer. But, I mean, what does he mean? When he was born, why was he born not very good at football? Or?
Well, Shri commented and said, groin injury. He's had it since the Napoli home leg.
Yeah.
Okay. Keeping him or selling him? Or giving him back, I should say. he was another one. He was going back on that bloke's list.
Yeah, I mean, I'm potentially going to Madrid at the end of May. If he wants to join me, I'll pay for his flight. I mean, I'm sure he can afford his own, the amount of money he's fucking made out of the club.
I would like to see. I know this is stupid, but how we're travelling. I know he's got a groin injury, but I would like to see a bit more of him. Like, okay,
I'd like to see loads of him sitting on the plane back to Barcelona.
No, but I wasn't a big. I always said when he came on loan, he's here on loan. I didn't want him to come on loan. I don't know if I want him to stay next year either. Well, probably not, more than likely. But have we seen enough of him at Arsenal? Like,
Flip side of that, have we seen enough of him to pay 25 million?
No, absolutely no chance.
Then there you go. That's
no chance.
See, did you know when people like say Ozil or Mkhitaryan, they dig them out? Oh, they're stealing a living, blah blah blah. They're taking too much from the club. I think it's worse. People like Suarez, and I'm not blaming him, but what's he played? 60 minutes since he's been here, and he's earned his every week. For me, that's worse than someone who is getting paid more but is actually playing and trying to do stuff for the club. Again, it's not his fault for not getting picked, but for me, stealing a living is not playing at all.
Look, the whole stealing a living thing is, I think it's just a load of shit anyway. Like, it's not his, like Suarez, Ozil, it's not. I'll say this about Ozil. He has a very good agent. He got a very good deal for his player. So, is that Ozil's fault? No. Suarez, Arsenal went in big and wanted him on loan. We wanted him. That was like it was happening for weeks. It's going to happen. So I would imagine everything but the kitchen sink was thrown at him to get him here on loan. Is it his fault that he's sitting on the bench on loan? Did he want to leave Barcelona? So I just how people say they're stealing a living. They're professional sportsmen. So
I agree with you, but as I said, if I was to moan at someone more, it would be the person who's not playing at all and not doing anything for the club. And I agree with you. I don't blame him. Yeah. He would want to play. He's probably asking Emery to let him play, and he isn't. But as I said, look, you employ people, right? So what would you rather employ? A guy that sits at home but you still pay him, or the guy who you probably pay too much but he actually does his job?
Sometimes if I sit at home is easier. No, but I do get you. Of course, the bloke's working for you. I don't know. This whole Dennis Suarez thing, I don't know. Leicester City must-win game. What are we going to do there? Predicted lineup. Lose. Has he learned? Is he going to go back 5 there?
Look, I'm not one of these that say, you have to go back 5 at all times. I just think Wolves was a perfect game for it, but I would also go at Leicester because they're going to play Vardy on the shoulder, so you don't want to be high up. If we defend, if he's in their team meeting now, telling them we're going to defend high up, they should just not turn up. Just leave. Just don't bother. Give Leicester the win.
You can't with Vardy.
No. But then the thing is, they'll play Vardy and then they'll probably play Maddison just behind if they're at full strength, and Tielemans just somewhere, but he's a bit more advanced of a standard centre midfielder. So you have to get your midfield right. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do wide with either Harvey Barnes, Damari Gray or Albrighton. They're obviously all quite different, but you've got to defend deeper. I personally would go for a 5. I would try and drag their wing backs back because Pereira's good, Chilwell's very good. For me, Chilwell's probably the best left back in the league. So if you go with someone attacking down that side, hopefully it keeps them back and stops them from just attacking all day long. So I would personally go for a 5, but I don't think it's as important as it was against Wolves. I think Wolves was you have to go back 5. There is no other option. Here, I think a back 5 for me I would prefer, but it's not the end of the world if we go over 4.
The bookies, then this is obviously different for you, but they've got Arsenal just favourites in our dollar, $2.60 Arsenal, $2.75.
That's exactly what we was Wolves.
And $2.75 Leicester.
I don't know what Wolves were, but we was 2.6 for Wolves as well.
Yeah, okay. And 2.75 for Leicester. They've got that very close. Well, it's our way for them. Okay, that's it. We'll be back after the Leicester game, I suppose. When is it?
Sunday, so Monday, Tuesday.
Yeah, next Monday, Tuesday. We'll see if Schwinn joins us or not.
Oh, he had a question.
Oh, that's right. He fucking did ask a question. Where is he? Did he ask it?
Yeah.
Schwinn, extreme overreaction, but do you think Emery would exchange our full squad for Wolves?
As in, does he mean like literally just give them every one of our players and take every one of their players?
I think so.
No, you fucking idiot.
Extreme overreaction? The bloke's off chops. I think he's been smoking too much pot. Yeah, that's what he's saying.
No, say people watch you sack and they turn bitter and weird. He's gone weird, bitter and twisted.
No wonder why he doesn't want to come on the podcast no more, because he just...
I would sack him. He asks things like that.
comes up with that shit. I thought he had a decent question.
If he had decent content, he wouldn't have been sacked.
Okay, thank you for listening. Thank you to our guest Monty. You can follow us at clockend_talk on Twitter, and you can get your questions there. Usually after the game, we throw a question thread up for people. We'll be back after Leicester game. Let's hope we get the 3 points. And thank you, Tony. We'll speak to you next week.
Cheers.